I think any brand that believes that there is a place for the Internet of Things will be able to benefit from 3D printing.
We are seeing the birth of 3D printing and brands using 3D printing to help provide products and services out to market.
Basically, people send us in their files. We give them a check over to see if it's all printable, and to make a file printable it needs to be one continuous outer shell in STL format. And then we pack up a build volume like this, which is made up of, this one's got 50 or 60 different parts in it. And the advantage of our machine is it's powder based, so you can actually print in 3D space. You can print things on top of each other, you know, left, right and centre, or all around each other.
I don't think 3D printing will ever be a threat to brands. I think there'll always be a desire for a certain type of craftsmanship and, you know, the brand essence. When you're buying into a brand, you're buying into more than just a physical object. You're buying into what stands behind that. And there'll always be a demand for that. But I do think that brands are going to have to adapt, and that 3D printing provides tremendous opportunities and abilities for customization.
This is basically an oven filled with lasers. It's basically 170-degree hot nylon powder. There's a laser which colours in cross-sections, and these cross-sections are only 0.1 mil thick. But it's basically tipping that bit over just over the melting point. Once it's done, coloured in one complete cross-section, then it drops it down 0.1 mil, and then does it again. This is the cross-section that it's filling in at the moment. So you can see this is the slice number, so it's already done 2,500 slices. It's an amazing tool, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to live up to the hype that everyone thinks it's going to, because it's an expensive way of making something, and it's a slightly lower quality way of making something. So when we get past the sort of honeymoon of 3D printing and how amazing and how cool it is, you know, you get to the point where you look at something about how much it costs to make and what the quality's like, and when one thing is better and cheaper than another thing, people go for the better and cheaper option every time. So it's great for customizing things, and making one-offs and low volume productions, but it's terrible for mass production, and it will never replace that.
People have an affinity with brands, which is built up over decades, hundreds of years in some instances, and I don't believe 3D printing is going to erode all that goodwill and love that we have for certain brands that has been built up through millions and millions of interactions with a brand, whether it's a physical product or a TV advert or an online website. They all build the equity of a brand inside my own personal self, so I don't believe 3D printing is going to erode all of that deep emotional connections overnight.
So once it comes off the machine, it's covered, caked in this kind of dust all around the edge, and this is the nylon powder that you would have seen earlier on in the video. To remove this, we basically use a paintbrush. It kind of gets most of the caked on powder out. Now this powder isn't reusable, so this is all going to be wasted. So we use high pressured air to remove the rest of the dust. So. Oh, cool. I'm going to put it out this door here.
Brands, companies that produce things, and advertising agencies, we've spent far too long celebrating brand associations with brand names, and I think one of the interesting things about a 3D printed object is that it is unbranded. It's brand you, brand me, and actually there is still an awful, well, still there is a huge market, and that is the market. People want to buy items that have actually got brand names on them. So I don't think it poses a threat in that way, no.